This is part of the braking system of Richard's steam wagon. That's basically a shaft goes through there. It's got a cam on one end that works the brake shoes, and it's got a big lever on the other end that's operated by rods from a brake lever in the cab. All this was fabricated when the wagon was rebuilt, as it was all missing. The problem Richard's got with it now was when the wagon's moving, the chassis is flexing. It needs to be made very accurate. You got a very good fit on the shafts, too good a fit in fact, and it's actually bending up. So what we're deciding to do is, it's got two bushes with a gap in the middle. We're going to take the bushes out, machine 25 out of the bushes, and just press one bush back into the centre, so things have got a bit more slack in them, so things can move around a little bit. They don't need to be such a good fit as they've been made. I would imagine there'll be a top hat bush that press in from each side. I don't know how tight they are. I'll try knocking one bush out from one side. If it comes out, we'll do it that way. If not, I'll have to machine that piece off and press them both out from this side. Just a really nice fit in there. So the bush is going to be, we'll machine that off there, bore 25 out of it, press it into the centre and re-drill it for the grease knuckle. So basically these bushes have been made by an engineer to an engineer's tolerance, which is a really good fit. And as far as I'm concerned, being a motor mechanic that pisses about, you need plenty of slack on them. We'll machine that face off there, then bore it out 25 thou. As well, not brass, you can tell it it's machined beautifully. Touching off, which is there. It was a 25 thou cut, 12.5 thou side. I've purposely left that roughish finish on there simply because it'll help to hold the grease. I've made a little mandrel to knock the bushes in with. They're not that tight, so I'm just going to put them in with a hammer instead of pressing them in. What I need to do is mark the mandrel so I know when the bush is in the centre. I see things they're not super critical as long as it's approximately in the centre, which is there. Really good clean up with a bit of brake clean. I'm going to Loctite these in just to make sure they don't move. It's probably the wrong Loctite, but it's the same stuff I've used for the last good few years. I've had no problems at all with it. Right. Once we get down to that black mark, back out a little bit. Excellent. Just in the middle, just what I wanted. Need to drill a hole down here for the grease to get through into the bearing, into the bush. Right, that's it through. Okay, that's one done. You see, that's going to give it a more chance to articulate around and that's all I got mixed it inside the sand.
Is that feeling like the standard thing? Richard, you know what I mean? Can you buy the thing?
Oh yeah, it's good.
what it is. Oh, no, right. How long is this beside you? Hold on, hold on, so now the yard on the inside, and you look up. From the outside on this left side, so it's one hour. Big stop, a little bit trouble. Look, go over there. After the last, you put it on top of you. Yeah, hold on. They're going left there. Keep on coming to the top. That one just at the top. Yes, right up there. Notice again.
Hello, it's that time again where we're coming to the end of a Sunday night nightcap. As always, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for clicking like, we love that. And especially a massive thanks for all the well wishes for Debs, who, as I'm sure John's told you, has finished her treatment and is coming along wonderfully. And we really do genuinely believe that the well wishes and the thoughts that are being sent out from you guys across the world have had a massive impact. So thanks again, keep watching, stay tuned, more exciting things to come from the workshop, and I'll see you all next time I'm home from Nottingham. Bye!
Oh, you snivelling bastard, thank you.